What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the NECA Godzilla 2014 version. And here we have Godzilla himself in his blister card. Really excited I have this figure. I actually found him at Toys R Us, but more on that later. In the background you can see a wonderful artwork of Godzilla. And it wraps all the way around to his tail, so you can see that too. And let me just move my camera slightly. On the back we have a nice read-up of Godzilla. It says, possibly the last of an ancient species of giant amphibious creatures that evolved at a time when the surface of the Earth was over 10 times more radioactive than it is today. Godzilla can convert his radiation stores into a violent, focused exhalation of atomic breath. Rarely seen, but spoken of, in the ancient Pacific Island myths, Godzilla was last spotted in 1954 when the U.S. Navy encountered and attempted to kill him with an atomic blast in the Pacific Ocean. Since then, this giant creature has been living in the deep ocean until a threat to his survival from an ancient foe forces him to reappear. I will say that I was one that enjoyed the movie. I actually enjoyed the design of Godzilla. Not much more to say about his box, so what I'm going to do now is take a little break, get him opened up, and we'll go on to the rest of his review, so sit tight, folks. And so here we have Godzilla posing out of packaging. Now, if I can, let's get a good 360 of this guy. Really impressed by the amount of detail on this figure. I can't stress that enough on how impressive this one particular Godzilla figure is. But he is really nice looking. Before I go on to his review, I will say that this is a review on the figure. I'm not going to give my thoughts on the movie. The movie is completely separate from this figure. This is a figure review, not a movie review. So anything about the movie, just keep it to yourself. This is solely a figure review. And I can't stress that enough. But let's get Godzilla standing straight if we can. There's so many parts to Godzilla, and it's really hard to show off all at once, but that is a really nice looking Godzilla. NECA went all out with the design. He is molded in this really dark green, almost black, and then there is some like brownish coloring along his belly, the inner workings, like his inner thigh has some brown wash, his inner arm does that, so that's a lot of nice little detail. I'm not sure if you can pick that up, but his tongue is also painted to match, what it would look like on the inside. His teeth are painted. He has these beady little yellow eyes. Really phenomenal details on Godzilla. I'm really enjoying this figure. I don't have another, well actually I do, so let's move Godzilla off to the side for just a moment and bring in another Godzilla for comparison. And so here we have the 2014 Godzilla posed to the Millennium Bandai Godzilla, and as you can see, though he is just a tad bit bigger at the head, his spines obviously are bigger, he's not as posable as him. He only has basic articulation, and that's okay, but this guy has a lot of articulation. Let's get some detail in on him really fast. Just great amount of detail, gorgeous detail actually. This Godzilla is really setting the bar high. You can see his spines up here. Really accurate representation of Godzilla in the movie. I really do love this figure a lot. There's so much I can say about it. A minor nitpick that I personally have with it is that his head doesn't look up as high as I'd like it to, but what are you going to do about it? They did so much more. They did so much with this figure that it's really hard to find something to complain about. He does feel really sturdy. He's not like a soft plastic. He's really sturdy. The only soft parts about him are his spines, but even then they're a little prickly. They're not going to stab you or anything, but they do poke you. Pulling him out of packaging, you did have to attach this segment of his tail. It was kind of difficult because, like I said, these spines are a little prickly, and they did poke me quite a bit. But anyway, going on to Godzilla's articulation, we'll start from head to tail. Starting at his jaw, he has jaw articulation. As you can see, it just moves up and down. His head is on a ball joint. He can go left and right and has up and down movement, as you can see. Neck is also somewhat on a ball joint. He can move left and right, and like I said, has some varying degree of a ball joint, as you can see right there. Arms go out to about that far, go in that far, do a full 360. He bends at the elbow for both arms, spins at the elbow. He has a ball joint at the wrist, as you can see right here. Well, I don't think if you can see it, but he has a ball joint at the wrist, and it's the same for both arms. He has this ab crunch that can move side to side and crunch, so it's a really nice ball socket joint. His legs are also on a ball socket. They do go out a bit. If you don't believe me, there you can see it coming off the sculpting, and that's mainly just to help with mobility, but his legs swivel. Knees bend, as you can see. And he has a ball jointed foot, so you can always have his feet solidly on the ground. And then when you get to his tail is in segments. So what you're going to do is, he has one ball joint at the base of his tail, slightly below that one, it spins. And then below that one we have another ball joint. And then we have this ball joint, which is the part of the tail that you had to attach. And then what I do like about this Godzilla, ow, he just poked me, is that this tail is on a wire, so you can bend it in any position that you want, however you want it. You can have it going up, and that is, it's not really soft, but it's not impossible to bend. Look at that, he is poking my hand. So you can pretty much have Godzilla's tail any way you want it. You can have it standing straight up if you want. Whatever your display is, you can have his tail like that. My only minor nitpick, I'll get that in my final thoughts, but overall I really do love this figure, so what I'm going to do now is dust off my studio, and then we'll move on to my final thoughts on the NECA Godzilla, so sit tight folks. And so here we have Godzilla posed for my final thoughts, and overall I really do enjoy this figure a lot. My one and only gripe with this figure, he doesn't have atomic breath. If he had come with an atomic breath attachment, that would have been so cool. You know, people would have said maybe a plane. No, atomic breath would be awesome for this Godzilla, and I wish NECA will find a way to give us his atomic breath, because, let's face it, in the movie that was awesome. But anyway, no spoilers. I picked this guy up at Toys R Us for around $20, that's really good, because that was including tax. With the amount of detail that goes into him, the articulation, it's well worth the $20. If you can find him at Toys R Us, I highly recommend you pick him up. Online, he's going to run you about $30 with shipping. That's not too bad, but, you know, I picked him up at I picked Godzilla up at Toys R Us, excuse me. So it was a little cheaper. I didn't have to pay for shipping. Like I said, if you're a Godzilla fan, pick this guy up. You don't want to skip out on him. Even if you didn't like the movie, you're gonna enjoy this figure. He has a lot of detail, a lot of articulation. The paint's spot on. Even his spines are awesome. And I can't stress how great this figure is. So I'm gonna wrap up my review here, saying this is King of Dragons 5000, and I highly recommend the NECA 2014 Godzilla figure. I'll see you later. Take care, everybody.